This is Waylon, and we are about to go live with yet another incredible guest on a vital issue. So today we're going to talk about one of the most important and serious issues that should unite all of us. We're going to be talking about gun violence and protecting our children, which is something hopefully all of us can unite on. What we can actually do about it instead of just feeling kind of powerless and like it's just nihilism, like there's nothing we can do. So what is the issue? Gun violence, children. I think it's the leading cause of death among children now in America. Hey, how are you?
Hey, look at your cute puppy. Let me see.
I know I pulled him in to entertain people because people love to tune out, which brings us to our first, we can jump right in. So people love to tune out on really sort of depressing or scary or difficult, complex issues when it feels like we're powerless. Gun violence and how it affects children is one of them. What are you doing about it? What are we doing about it?
Okay, so here's something that finally has given me hope.
Thank you for doing this.
Hey, I'm just one of the thousands of white women, and I say white women, and I'm going to get into all that. So first and foremost, this is the brainchild of extraordinary Black, brown, indigenous women. Syra Rao, also Tina Strawn, Regina Jackson. So these are women who know how to organize.
You're talking about
know
the
how to put their
organization Here for the Kids? You're talking about the organization?
Yes. So number four, Here for the Kids action. And I'm going to tell everybody that's tuning in, first of all, thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. To Waylon's point, a lot of people don't like to talk about gun violence. They hear about a school shooting, a mass shooting, a suicide, and you like to look the other way because it's painful. We can't look the other way anymore. So Here for the Kids action, the reason why it's different. Amen. And here's why it's different. So number one, started by Black, brown, indigenous women who know how to organize, know how to get things done, are activists like most Black and brown women are. And they're calling on us white women to put our bodies on the line for once, right? To do something to a lot of the people that I talk to, because I go door to door and I canvass. And everybody is affected by gun violence. Everybody. I literally, put politics aside. I'm sick and tired of Democrats saying one thing, Republicans saying one thing. We're all dying. That's what Syra Rao, one of the founders, says. She just wrote she's featured in an incredible article in the Washington Post right now. Go to it, read about it.
Yeah, I saw that.
We're not living.
Your feed. So if folks want to see what you're talking about, go fan Sam and go read that article or go to the Washington Post directly. And
incredible article.
Sam, is, gun violence is now, as you remind us, and in the organization Here for the Kids reminds us, number one killer of children. So it really is affecting all of us, not just Democrats, not just Republicans, all of us.
It is. It's the number one. Guns is the number one cause of death for kids and teens. That is terrifying. If you were to, here's the thing. As a mother, I'm a mother of two, Waylon. And if I have any sort of product that results in another child in America having a death, rightfully so, they recall it, they ban it. Rightfully so. I've gotten messages directly from manufacturers saying, hey, that rocker you have, it caused a death. 2 children have died in America. Recall it, ban it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you.
If you created a toy that was killing 1 or 2 children, it would be recalled, the entire toy.
Thank you.
Over, everywhere.
Thank you. And then here's where people will then on the other side say to me, no, Sam, because that toy is not protected by my Second Amendment. So let me talk about that, Waylon, because I've learned a lot. My head has been in the sand. I will call myself out. I have been so privileged to not be affected by gun violence directly. I mean, obviously we all are. You turn on the news, you may know someone, you may know, I have cousins that have been in lockdowns and things like that, but, and that affects them. Let's not even talk about the 16,000 gun deaths. Let's talk about the fact that if you're a survivor, seeing it, if you're a kid in lockdown drills, all of that is mental health issues that nobody even talks about. It's like you're lucky if you survive a school shooting, but are you really lucky? You're kind of a shell of yourself after that.
Yeah, and we here in Colorado, you know, we had the shooting at King Soopers here in Boulder. You know, we're afraid to go to the grocery, or afraid to go to school. We're afraid to go to the farmer's market. We're afraid to go to soccer practice. Like, fear should not be the American way. That's not
it shouldn't.
That's
and
not
so people
freedom.
That's not freedom. And let's talk about the Second Amendment, because for me, and this is something you may know, your readers may know, your followers may know, but for me, you know, I've always been someone who really likes to reach across the aisle. I work on a talk show. I try and always see other perspectives, always. And I feel like if we can talk about uncomfortable situations, whether it be racism, whether it be the Second Amendment, constitutional, whatever it may be, perhaps we can have a solution. So the Second Amendment is rooted in white supremacy. For me, I was like, what? That sounds like a bit of a reach. And so I did my own research. And for a lot of you, you're going to be like, duh, Sam. But for me, I was like, okay, let me look into this.
I've written about gun violence. I've interviewed Shannon Watts of Moms Demand, and
Moms Demand Action.
So please explain.
Okay, good.
Yeah, please explain.
Perfect. So first of all, Moms Demand Action, all of those incredible gun reform groups, I'm also a member of. So it's not either or, it's and, right?
Right.
It's and. So let's be a member of this and that, and let's tackle this together. Let's end gun violence together. So the Second Amendment, first of all, amendments are supposed to be changed, amended if they no longer serve the people.
They're literally an amendment. Just as a reminder, they're an amendment, not the actual Constitution.
Right. But let's unpack why it was created. So there are incredible articles. If you don't want to take my word for it, and you shouldn't, nobody should take my word for it. You don't know me. You should definitely do your own research.
Right.
There's incredible articles at the Harvard Law Review, NPR. There's journals from slave owners that 1,000%, that Second Amendment was created to arm white slave owners. I mean, do you think enslaved people had firearms? No, they did not. Do you think indigenous people had firearms? No. Did they? They did not. Did women? No, they did not. So initially, at that time, the Haitian Revolution was happening, and Black and brown people were revolting. It was working. They were taking over. They were seeking.
Haiti successfully, you know, kicked out, was it the French? You know, the colonialists.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. And they won. So meanwhile, here in America, even though they didn't have social media, word trickled. There's a lot of fear, and they needed to be able to control and instill fear into their enslaved people. So the Second Amendment was only white slave owners able to bear arms, okay? For one reason only, to control and to be able to continue their white supremacy ways. So that's how it was rooted. Even today in 2023, you look at how the Second Amendment benefits some, and then even if you're allowed to carry a weapon legally, I think about Philando Castile. He did everything the NRA told him to. The NRA will tell you, if you are a law-abiding citizen, if you legally obtain your firearm, if you get pulled over and you're able to have it in your glove compartment, you let you raise your hands up, you let the police officer know, hey, I'm a law-abiding citizen, I got a legally obtained firearm right here, and they're supposed to respect that. Now, if I did that, I think I would be respected. Yeah. Philando did that, and he was open fired on.
Because he was a person of color, you're saying?
Yes. Philando Castile, person of color, and even to that day, you know, Black and brown indigenous people are disproportionately abused by this system. We all know that. So what we're doing, what Here for the Kids Action is doing. So number one, we know guns is the problem. And again, you're talking to someone who's having all these new thoughts. This is someone who grew up with guns. This is someone who knew how to shoot a gun at a very young age. My dad taught me firearm safety, all of those things. And I've always been one to say, listen, I protect the Second Amendment. I understand the Second Amendment. It's not serving us anymore. It's not. And let's look at the other side, Waylon. I have virtually attended NRA conventions and material, propaganda, all of that. They are, as Syra Rao, our founder, says, they are like, if we were in a basketball game, they're dunking hoops. We're on the sidelines blowing bubbles. We're not. You think it's bad now where 50% of mass shootings are 50% higher today than they were last year? You think it's bad now when they've got legislation passing left and right, Florida, Texas, you name it, open permitless carry. It's only going to get worse. So what are we going to do? So with Here for the Kids action, we're asking white women, we have thousands of women all over the nation coming in. We're going to sit our butts down on Governor Polis's lawn. We're kicking it back to the old school civil disobedience, peacefully sitting down. And we are taking a page from the activists in Montgomery, Alabama. We're taking a page from their book, and we're going to be patient. It could take 4 days. It could take longer. We're going to sit there and we're going to ask Governor Polis, we're going to have an executive order to ban guns, buy them back. Buy them back. Buyback programs work. I've attended buyback programs with Moms Demand Action, Australia, Baltimore, Connecticut. There's been
like Australia. Like, so they had a mass shooting. They did a buyback following, and no mass shootings in what, the decades since?
Yep, and two. They did actually two different buyback programs. So they did one, I think, in like 94, and then they did another one, I think in 2003. Don't quote me on that. But they did two different buyback programs. And both times were wildly successful. Sure, it's going to take time. Here in America, we have 400 million guns. We're going state by state. We're starting in Colorado. It's a blue state. And, you know, at the very least, let's say we meet in the middle. At the very least, at least we're fighting fire with fire. Like I said, the other side, passing legislation left and right. Yeah. Exactly. Dunking NRA on their side, being imaginative, being bold. We have lost our way. We've completely lost our way. We don't care. We're numb.
So
and it's not acceptable.
Question, because I love your energy here. I love that you're both like, you know, kind of bipartisan about it, but at the same time, like acknowledging privilege and that some of us don't feel affected as much as others. And I think even the sort of conservative line about, well, there's so many shootings in Chicago points to that, which is, you know, vulnerable populations are getting the brunt of gun violence. But the question is, like, I'm a huge fan of Beto O'Rourke, who ran for governor in Texas and lost and ran a great campaign. And, you know, he was attacked mercilessly for admitting that, yeah, I want AR-15s, automatic weapons off the streets, which, you know, Democrats, even like Jared Polis, our great governor, don't typically do. He admitted it. And, you know, obviously Texas is rabidly pro-gun overall. But, you know, I think the support is overestimated because the NRA doesn't represent responsible gun owners, as you mentioned, and all that. But by you talking about banning guns or buybacks I think is great language. But banning guns, are we feeding into the sort of paranoia around those who support the Second Amendment on an extreme kind of level?
Here's the thing, though, because I've been told, Sam, banning guns, that sounds extreme.
Yeah.
That's where we've lost our way, Waylon, though. And I feel all those feelings, too. When I first heard Syra Rao speak about this, even though I knew as a mother something had to be done, when the number one threat against my children are guns, and I knew in my heart that something cellularly has to be done, because what if my child's next? What if your loved one's next? What if you're next? Because it affects all of us. So for me, even though I grapple with the same things that everybody else is grappling with, because we've all been conditioned to accept this way of life, it's no way to live. This is not okay. This is not living. What is radical, what is extreme, is that we've accepted this. Is that we've accepted going to a place of worship, a farmer's market, a Walmart, a concert, a school, and somehow accepting the fact that we aren't safe. And it's not just mass shootings. I mean, mass shootings, assault rifles, that accounts for 3% of gun deaths. You think about teens in this country who are, in Colorado alone, it's their number one cause of death aside from firearms. I mean, it's like the same thing. Death by firearm, suicide, and firearms. And you think about the fact that a teen, I host a talk show, and we recently had someone come on who's a parent, a responsible gun owner, but they're human. You can make a mistake. Maybe you don't lock the safe that day. Maybe you were cleaning it and you ran to go answer the door. And what we're learning is that teens act on impulse. So an adult who may commit suicide via firearm, or might, you know, accidentally play with one. Adults are going to be more mindful of that. But a teenager who might be playing with one with a friend, or might have this lack of impulse when they're being bullied, may immediately take that opportunity and shoot themselves. We've seen it. The data's there. We interviewed a parent, literally, who's warning us, saying, I'm a responsible gun owner. I had a lapse in judgment. I'm human. And now I don't have a child anymore. So, adults will think about suicide. We'll write letters. We'll contemplate. It might take months to plan. A teenager doesn't do that. Their prefrontal cortex, I'm not a clinician, but their prefrontal cortex is not formed. They're going to act on impulse. And what we also have learned, which is so alarming to me because I think of my kids, with suicide, if you're going to take pills or cut yourself, there's time. They say the average wait time is 20 minutes. So you might have 20 minutes to call 911. Your mom might come in, and it's not as effective. You're going to survive it, or you hope that they survive it.
I have second thoughts. There's an opportunity for the family or, someone to intervene. Yeah.
Right. Take them to the ER. You got 20 minutes. A firearm, first of all, it's 95% effective as opposed to other ways. And it's 3 minutes. You got 3 minutes. So God forbid you go to the bathroom. God forbid you walk to the end of your driveway to get your mail and you come back. Those 3 minutes are up. So this is such a bigger crisis than, just mass shootings. And again, if we at least, the difference between Here for the Kids action. Oh, somebody just posted the Washington Post article. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. For Here for the Kids action is we're bold. And again, people are going to say, that sounds bold or that sounds extreme. No, what's extreme is accepting this reality. So we're bold.
Yeah.
We're going to have an executive order. We're going to ask to ban guns, buy them back. But again, our end goal is to end gun violence, is to protect your kids, is to protect all of us. And at the very least, we meet in the middle, because right now we're not doing anything. Like, I call my senators. They don't care. I vote. Nothing's changed. I mean, when did Columbine happen? When did Sandy Hook happen?
Yeah.
So we're doing everything that we think we're doing. We think like our outrage on social media helps. We think voting helps, and it does. Don't get me wrong. All of that helps. But we really need to up the ammo, no pun intended, get our butts on that lawn and show them that we want this done, Waylon.
Well,
we
partially
need it.
I reached out to you because I had seen you posting about this. And then a friend of mine, a mom who lives outside of Boulder in the mountains, was messaging me about it and being like, oh, you have to get involved. You have to do something. And I was like, wow, this is really getting out there. You're really, all you guys are really got.
Circle is moving. There he is. Waylon, we're back. You know what it is though, Waylon? It's life and death now. And unless we wake up and realize, it's life and death. Like other countries have issued travel bans to our country saying, I'm warning you, don't go to America, Australia, New Zealand, France, Uruguay, the list goes on. They all have bans or travel warnings, I should say, warning their citizens, don't come to the United States because of their gun violence. Guns are the #1 cause of death of kids and teens. And, if you want to look at it from a fiscal perspective, you think about all the tax dollars we spend on security and court and everything that we do with gun violence. There's a lot of things that guns trickle down into our economy, into our reputation worldwide. But again, I just can't. As a mother, I can't do this anymore. I'm not going to sit by and wonder if I was not there on June 5th, would that have saved my child? I hope everybody is feeling this visceral reaction because we can, and we can collectively change this. We the people, that's what the Constitution's about. If you want to be, all about the Constitution, we can and we will change this, because this is no way to live. This is no way to live. You think our mental health crisis is bad now? I can't even imagine what's going to happen in 10 years when we look at the teenagers or the children that have undergone school shootings, lockdown drills, accidental lockdown. Like in my child's school, it was an accidental lockdown drill. They didn't know. You know, the alarm went off. All the teachers were panicked, terrified. And then it was an accident.
They don't know.
They think it's the real. They don't know. So you're sitting there for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, wondering if someone's about to barrel into your classroom.
Yeah.
And
it's terrifying.
take you and your
movie.
Terrifying. So what are we doing to our children even mentally right now?
And
so
listen, a lot of people are old enough to remember, like, I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and there was like none of this fear. That fear wasn't in the water or in the air of America. And I go visit my mom, and she lives in Canada now, and that fear is absent there. And what is present in that absence is community. And you have the feeling, I can go talk with my neighbor, I can go disagree with someone, I can whatever. And there isn't that, we saw that rash of news coverage of people shooting kids, anyone who just what happened into their yard. Like now you have the feeling like if I don't like someone idling their truck on the street, I'm not going to knock on the window and ask them politely to stop polluting, because I might get shot in the, these are crazy thoughts to have in a society, but they're
crazy thoughts. Yes, Waylon, you hit the nail on the head. Those are crazy thoughts. That's what's crazy. That's what's crazy. Not creating legislation that has worked in other countries to protect us. That is what's crazy. And we've lost our imagination. We've just kind of like given up. And it's just going to get worse. But we're not going to let it. We're not. Let me talk positive. There are so many people that are here for the kids. I mean, it's been around a month, and you have celebrities from Amy Schumer, Chelsea Handler, Lake Bell, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who I love. I watch Seinfeld every night before I go to bed.
I love her.
Who are like, finally, Yvette Nicole Brown, Joyanne Reed, all of them on board for the kids. And then I am canvassing. So I actually get to see the people, whether they're on one side of the aisle or the other, and talk to them and spend time with them. And everyone's fed up. Everyone is like, yeah, you're right. I don't like living this way. Or, yeah, I lost my nephew to suicide by firearm. Or, yeah, my child was at East High School in Colorado two times with mass shootings. So we're all connected. I love that you brought up community, Waylon. That is what's missing. Community is 1000% missing in America. And we had a great community event, just almost to model to like other community members, to neighbors, to your children. We had a community event last week or this week on Wednesday. And it's been a long week, Waylon. You know how it is. Your pup knows how it is. But yeah, whatever happened to like reaching out to your neighbor, talking to them, having uncomfortable conversations, breaking bread, that's gone. And to your point, I understand it to a degree, because we see the headlines. God forbid you knock on the wrong door to get your twin brothers, you're shot in the face. God forbid your soccer ball is in your neighbor's yard, your family is killed. So
and in
I
case
understand.
People watching don't understand, these are real examples that have happened lately.
Right. Yes. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Real examples. Two cheerleaders, and like sweet, innocent. It shouldn't matter if they're sweet or innocent or not.
Got in the wrong car in a parking lot and got shot. Like, instead of saying, "Oh, who the heck are you, cheerleader lady? Why are you getting into my car?" You just shoot them.
Yeah.
Literally, I live in Boulder and near the campus, and this was 10 years ago now, maybe 15 years ago now. A friend of my neighbors, college kids. She was, young, blonde, sorority type girl. She got drunk at some party, walked into the wrong house, and got shot. And, I get it. Like, the people are freaked out. But what you do when you're freaked out is maybe you call the cops, or you lock your door or whatever. You don't shoot. They shot her. They didn't kill her, luckily, but she got really messed up.
And what is that going to do to her mentally for the rest of her life? Like, we can't live this way anymore. Yeah. I don't know what else to say. Yeah. I do know that a lot of people feel the same way, Waylon. We're not alone. Yeah. And you're going to get troves of people on June 5th. So I ask the people watching right now, go to Here for the Kids Action. Yeah. RSVP right now. Do it. Just
And we'll
do
share
it.
this,
You could,
we'll share this on Elephant and Reels and all that if you want to share. And,
please. I will too. We need everybody. And we may be talking to Governor Polis soon too. So
well,
he follows you, Waylon.
I know him. I love him. I saw him like a week ago. I'm more than happy to, whatever.
Please. What? So good. Give me some insight. Do you see him making some moves here?
I mean, I think honestly, you're doing the right thing and applying a lot of public pressure. I think he is a really good guy and he will definitely listen and do whatever he can. But I think what you're doing is you're expanding the envelope with public pressure of what he can feel. FDR had that great quote where he said, he was talking with activists. He said, I hear you. I like what you're talking about. I want to do it. Now make me do it.
Yeah.
Because there has to be the public pressure.
It's all hands on deck. I'm telling you, it's life and death. We all need to do this. This is our time to make a future better for our children. And I believe it, and we will, and we can.
And Boulder's done everything. I'm sorry to interrupt. Boulder's already done everything we can, right? We banned assault weapons, we could do more based on what you're trying to get done.
Yeah, we can. Again, because assault weapons account for 3% of the gun deaths. But I want to quickly say too, because a lot of people will say to me, or they'll write in and say, okay, here's the deal. They'll say, we've never banned guns in this country. That's inaccurate. In 1934, we banned machine guns. That's why you don't see people like running around with Tommy guns.
Right.
So we have done it to protect the people. Great. And back then, it was on both sides of the aisle. So let's stop making it about you versus blue versus red. And let's come from a place of parents, loved ones, humanity, safety, and let's do the right thing. I think we all know what the right thing to do is. So let's just do it. So again, I'll end here.
Yeah.
Join Here for the Kids Action. Here, number 4, the Kids Action. Go there right now, please. RSVP, sign up, follow us, get the word out, and let's
You can start by following Sam up here, and then, through all your posts, follow Here for the Kids. And I think, again, to talk about Canada, like responsible gun owners in the US and Canada, anywhere, are all for training, all for permits, all for, laws. If you pretend to support the police, like you don't want a flood of crazy guns flooding the streets. This is something we can all unite on.
That is so beautifully stated. Amen. Amen, Waylon. I
love your
appreciate
energy. Thank you for using your privilege to help make a change. And I think so many of us have given up and just feel nihilistic and feel like, so many people to me say, people who love America, were born here, are like, oh, we need to move because my children aren't safe.
I get that, but let's change it because we can and we will, and we've done it. Well, Black and brown people have done it for centuries here in America. They put their bodies on the line, and it's worked. We can do this. We can and we will. And I thank you, Waylon, for amplifying this movement, and we'll be in touch. Thank you, Waylon.
Thank you most of all to everyone tuning in. Let's change this. If you watch this, share it before, after, get involved. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you. Thanks.